Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing great. So, I just came out of a meeting. I was invited to my client's mid year review meeting. And let me share some of the stuff that happened during that meeting, which I think made it tremendous difference in the message. Whereas many meetings of this kind, they just kind of walk you through. They basically talk about money all the time. But people don't know how that affects them. They don't really talk about the real issues and how they're addressing these issues. And they kind of boring, to be honest. This meeting was nothing like that. We had a fun twist to it, and they actually talked about what employees needed to hear. How is this affecting me? Where are we going? What are you trying to say? Provide clarity on it. The owners of the company were there to answer all the questions. They were really honest and transparent. They were candid when they were expressing whatever they had to express at the time, whatever they had to share. So I just want to go through some of the stuff that made a difference during this meeting. Okay. One of the things that made a difference was that from the beginning, expectations regarding rules, okay, stuff like we need you guys to be here, to be present, please put your phones away. If I can do this for 3-4 hours, you can do it as well. If something does happen, one of your clients where they get upset because you didn't answer the phone calls or whatever, we will back you up. Okay. There was a timekeeper to make sure that we stayed on topic. The agenda was shared from the beginning of the meeting. Okay. Then, when they were talking about, when they started presenting about, where they've been and where they're going, and the struggles, and how it all started, and how their lives were at that particular time, it was from the heart. It was very honest. You felt the emotion through what they were saying. So much more than a speech was a sharing moment. And one important thing is like the whole presentation, even though it was long, there were pauses, and everyone kept their speech short. One of the important messages was, this is where we're at today, and to get to from point A to point B, we need to start working on the issues that we have right now. How do we become better? How do we grow? And this wasn't about the company, as when you talk about just the company, they were talking about us as leaders, you as employees, us as a team, okay? We collectively. Another thing that was important that they mentioned is, these are our goals, but to get there, this needs to be managed. We can say whatever, but if it's not managed, then we won't be able to get to point B. Okay? They provided focus on the market. So where are we marketing ourselves? They talked about how we are going to make sure that we keep employees with us. But they were very honest about the fact that regardless of what they do, at some point people don't find what they want within a company. They have other aspirations, and that is true in any business, right? They explained the theme of the whole presentation. They didn't assume people knew what it meant, they actually explained it. They talked about specific examples of, like, hey, this was our idea, let's say 2 years ago, but then today, after experimenting with this idea, we've noticed it doesn't work, so we need to work through other experiments, basically, right? We need to try this and that to make sure that everyone is taken care of and everyone is doing their best. They talked about communication, which is always a challenge in any company. It's a challenge. So they talked about how we need to improve that. We need to work on it. It's an ongoing thing, internal and external communication, and how we're going to get there. They talked about stress levels, how they understand that sometimes things are stressful. And part of this whole thing that they're doing is also to make sure that everyone has work-life balance. And again, and I want to be really honest with you guys, this is not just something that people say but then they don't care about. This is an honest conversation, and I know for a fact. They talked about new roles and why they brought on these new roles and how these new roles are helping with specific examples. Since most of the people today are working remote, they did encourage employees from time to time to meet at the office, go out for lunch, have water cooler conversations, share ideas, which I think is cool. They're not forcing people, but they're saying, hey, you know what, sometimes we're here, there's no one here. We encourage you guys to meet from time to time, because in those water cooler conversations, a lot of ideas come up that can be very productive for everyone. They talked about alignment. They talked about how we know once we start going through this exercise. Once they start going through this whole exercise, how this is gonna, if this is helping us, helping them, us, I say because I'm included, and or is it not effective? How are we gonna measure that? They gave it a great example, which I think resonated with everyone. So they took a news clip article about this particular performer, and they talked about how this person is changing, okay, is mutating, is doing different things, is crossing over from their line of business or their artistic, whatever it's called, line of business to this particular one. How is that, how he is transforming his career. And it was a great example because it was a crossover example. And again, this is what they're trying to do as well. So because everyone knows who they were talking about, it didn't matter, if you liked the music or if you didn't like the music, but you knew who they were talking about. It resonated with everyone again. They even share the book that they're reading with the whole company in case they want to read the book. So They can understand where they're coming from. They can buy it, and they can get reimbursed for that expense. Again, great things. Let me see, I'm reading through my notes. This is why I'm pausing. Some of the areas that have already experimented some changes and are doing really good, they explain why the changes that they made and how it looks like today and how that translates into high performance and other stuff. And it was really good because I got to see that they've actually learned and they can see everything. And it was interesting because at some point people were like, when we started doing this, we were like, this is crazy, how are we going to do this, right? Status quo mentality at that time. And then now it's like, we really need to do this in other areas. It might not look the same, but we need to start working on other areas. Okay, it's basically, I want some of that. Whatever is happening over there, I want it, which is great. That's exactly what you want to happen. They talked about the tools that they've been implementing across the company and how they've been helping them be more productive, minimizing the work they did before, right? Spending lots of hours and stuff, that now through these tools they have higher visibility and they are more productive. Excuse me. They talked about roles and boundaries, how they're working through that to make sure everyone is effective on their particular roles, but of course with the mentality of collaboration. Okay, because at the end it's just one company, one goal, one great team. Let's see. They talked about how can we make our day-to-day, or not day-to-day, okay, how can we make our work in stressful times a bit more fun. This is always a challenge because people are 100% invested in what they're doing, and if you take them out of that, it's like, I don't have time for this. This is not important right now, right? If I invest 2 hours in this activity, that means that I'm gonna have to put in 2 more hours because I have this deadline or I have this goal that I need to accomplish. So that's interesting. But they gave it a twist, which was really nice, because immediately after that message, they were like, hey, in 2 weeks we plan to do this fun family activity, you guys all invited. So again, it was like, we're providing this today, in 2 weeks we're going to provide this for you guys and your families. It was also cool to see how people would keep each other within the script, within the timeline, okay, to make sure that we were respectful of that time frame, because people, of course, were hungry at a particular time. So it was good. It was good to see that. Let's see. They share personal stories, which I think was really good. It gave it that human touch that I think sometimes, or a lot of times, it's just missed. It's like, you think that leaders are like machines. Actually, we talk about a lot of times about how employees are not machines, right? And we need to take care of them. But a lot of the times, the people that are top management, we don't look at them the same way. They human beings too. Somebody said something that actually I think should be a message in any company. They talked about the company being a learning organization or a knowledge organization. And I think this is important because in every company you need to learn stuff. And you also need to transfer knowledge, share knowledge. So I think that was a really great message. Okay, if we're a team, we should be learning from each other. And we should also be transferring knowledge to make sure that the company, the clients are taken care of. It goes back to the we and not the I. People were really engaged. They answered every single question. And they started sharp and they ended sharp too. They only took a couple of minutes more to answer every single question there was. So, I mean, this was a great meeting. I have some notes here about little things here and there, but overall, it was a really good meeting. It wasn't one of those kind of meetings where you think you're gonna fall asleep. It's so boring. They did a great job. I'm looking forward to what's next. Bye.